Officer, can I ask you why you're letting some people through but not other people through? You understand, this is against the law.
If you watch traditional legacy media today, what you see is a mirror image of what you see on ESPN and SportsCenter.
It's really not journalism. It's kind of become this vortex of infotainment, substanceless drivel.
They have so many resources, yet they spend those resources on talking about what the latest gossip is in Washington and Hillary Clinton's haircut.
In general, the media was clearly an elite institution, and the clearer that became to people, the less they trusted it.
Cable news hasn't been able to provide the information that human beings are craving in 2017.
OJ's trial, that was like the advent of the non-stop 24/7 news coverage because it had every salacious, scandalous movie plot you could think of all in one.
Outrage is their bias. Their narrative is, what is the drama?
I've seen up close drug warehouses, floor to ceiling, packed with drugs that were headed right for your children.
When you look at ESPN, they're talking about a game that literally doesn't actually matter in most ways.
It's just awfully good that someone with the temperament of Donald Trump is not in charge of the law in our country.
Because you'd be in jail.
When you make politics into sport like that, and you strip it of all the actual issues, you're actually talking about something that actually affects people's daily lives.
The folks that are part of the working poor now, or formerly middle class, these are not the takers. There's actually been a systematic con job by what I call the corporate media military industrial complex. It's kind of long-winded, but there's been an active cabal of corporations, lobbyists, banks, politicians, and the media to essentially concentrate power and leave people in Michigan, Wisconsin, Ohio, Pennsylvania. It's not just the Rust Belt, all over the country, kind of scrapping for the crumbs. Very little coverage of the everyday atrocities that are quiet.
It's the absence of a credible platform to ask meaningful questions of corporate and political power that is then abusing the middle class so severely, and at the same time in a way that people really can't tell where it comes from.
Come up with a new model. You can't be reliant on the same sources of revenue, the same sources of social affirmation, the same professional incentives as all these other people who collectively were responsible for one of the greatest mass failures in the history of the United States.
Investigative journalism so often is what changes the world. If you look back at almost any social movement, go back far enough, you're going to see a piece of journalism that opened people's eyes, got them enraged, got them inspired, got them to organize, march, protest, until they got to where they are now.
We're in a deeply problematic period, and it really requires us to stand up against the establishment, against anybody who is trying to manipulate the system and run over everyday people.
This is an important moment for journalism, and I could not have found a better place that is more supportive of asking these questions and going out there and pushing the limits. For some reason, this officer seems to think that protesting and reporting fall under different constitutional rights.
What we need is strong watchdog journalism. Who do you think is going to do it? The corporate media?
Oh, I'm
No. Luckily, we don't need them anymore. We just need you guys. We're going to build the greatest investigative reporting team in the country. We're going to be the watchers on the wall. We're going to be the sword in the darkness. Let's go do it together, build kick-ass investigators, and unleash them on Trump and the establishment. PYTnetwork.com/go.